The air above 8,000 meters is a brutal, unforgiving void. Here, every breath is a battle, and the world shrinks to the narrow focus of survival. The wind howls, the cold bites, and the mind grows foggy as oxygen thins. This is the realm known as the death zone, where even the strongest are brought to their knees. On May 22, 2024, Nawang Sherpa, a seasoned guide with years of experience on Everest, found himself near the summit with his client, Kenyan climber Charuyot Kirui. The two had spent weeks acclimatizing, pushing their bodies to the limit in preparation for this final, perilous ascent. Kirui was attempting the climb without supplemental oxygen, a dangerous feat that only a handful have ever achieved. The risk was immense, but the reward, the chance to stand atop the world unaided, was irresistible. Near the top, Kirui's body began to fail. Nawang urged him to use emergency oxygen, but Kirui, his mind clouded by hypoxia, refused. The effects of altitude sickness were setting in, making rational decisions nearly impossible. The summit was close, but rational thought was gone. The line between determination and danger had vanished, replaced by confusion and exhaustion. Nawang faced an impossible choice: descend and save himself or stay with his client. He chose to stay, bound by a sense of duty and loyalty that runs deep in the Sherpa tradition. Unable to move Kirui alone, Nawang remained by his side as the cold and lack of oxygen claimed them both. In those final hours, the mountain was silent witness to their struggle and sacrifice. Both men perished on that high, lonely ridge, their dreams and courage left behind in the thin air. Kirui's body remains on the mountain. Nawang's was never found. Their story is now part of Everest's haunting legacy. This tragedy is not unique. It's a stark example of the silent struggle Sherpas endure. Every season, they risk everything for the dreams of others. Bound by duty, they often put a client's ambition above their own survival. Their courage is quiet, their sacrifices rarely told. The world hears of the client's quest, but the guide's sacrifice is often a quiet tragedy. Their names are seldom celebrated, their stories rarely shared. Nawang's final act was one of supreme loyalty, a choice that cost him everything. His courage and selflessness echo in the thin air above the clouds. His story is a reminder of the brutal realities Sherpas face on Everest, a testament to the human spirit and the price of loyalty on the world's highest peak. The decision to stay with a dying client is shaped not just by compassion, but by immense economic pressure and the harsh realities of the mountain. There's a power dynamic that overwhelmingly favors foreign climbers who pay large sums and expect unwavering support. For Sherpas, Everest is not an adventure. It's a workplace. Their seasonal earnings can support entire families, sometimes even whole villages for a year or more. This dependency on the climbing season creates a perilous imbalance, where livelihoods hang in the balance with every expedition. A guide who challenges a client's risky demands risks not only immediate conflict, but also losing future work and reputation among expedition companies. Expedition companies, focused on client satisfaction and profits, rarely side with guides overpaying customers, leaving Sherpas with little leverage. To secure their livelihoods, Sherpas must enable the dangerous ambitions of others, even when it means putting themselves at risk. Since commercial climbing began, at least 132 Sherpas have died on Everest, 28 in the last decade alone, a sobering reminder of the cost. The death rate for Sherpas is 1.2% per season, unthinkable in any other industry. They fix ropes, carry loads, and are the first to face the mountain's hazards. Sherpas lead the way, guiding clients through the most treacherous sections, often risking their lives so others can chase their dreams. Their ambition is simple: to provide for their families and give their children better opportunities. But the cost is heartbreakingly high. Sherpas know the risks better than anyone, yet economic need and a sense of duty compel them to return to the slopes season after season. Their sacrifices, often invisible to the world, make every summit possible, and every victory on Everest is built on their courage. The power imbalance on Everest is rooted in history, woven into the very fabric of its earliest expeditions and the stories that followed. This imbalance dates back to colonial-era expeditions, when Western climbers first arrived in the Himalayas, bringing with them their own values and hierarchies. Early British climbers saw Sherpas as porters, not partners, essential for their success, yet rarely acknowledged as equals or collaborators. The glory, recognition, and headlines went to Western climbers, while Sherpas remained in the background, their contributions largely invisible to the world. Even after Tenzing Norgay's historic summit with Hillary in 1953, when the world celebrated the achievement, the dynamic changed little for Sherpas. As commercial mountaineering grew, Sherpas' roles expanded. They became guides, safety experts, and rescuers, taking on ever greater risks and responsibilities. Their responsibilities grew, but their authority and recognition did not. The world still often overlooked their expertise and leadership. Today, clients pay for the dream of Everest, often assuming authority over even the most experienced Sherpa guides, shaping decisions on the mountain. The silent, deferential service expected a century ago still lingers, shaping relationships and expectations on every expedition. This legacy makes the mountains more dangerous for those who know them best, as Sherpas are often pressured to take risks for others' ambitions. Sherpas' expertise is unmatched, their knowledge of Everest profound, yet their voices are often unheard in critical moments. The tragedies and dangers on Everest are shaped by this enduring imbalance, with Sherpas bearing the greatest risks and burdens. The story of Everest is incomplete without acknowledging the Sherpas' silent service, their courage, sacrifice, and the respect they have long deserved. The dangers Sherpas face now include a new threat: climate change. The Himalayas are warming faster than the global average, melting sacred glaciers and destabilizing climbing routes. The Khumbu icefall is more volatile than ever, with collapsing seracs and shifting ice. Sherpas cross these hazards dozens of times each season, facing increased risk. Glacial lake outburst floods, like the one that struck Tame in 2024, are becoming more common, devastating villages. The spiritual impact is profound. The mountains are sacred, and their melting is a troubling omen. This environmental decay threatens cultural practices and spiritual beliefs. The Sherpas' struggle is now compounded by grief for their changing homeland. Their ancestral home is dissolving before their eyes. Climate change is reshaping Sherpa life far beyond Everest slopes. Glacial melt disrupts water supplies, causing droughts and floods that threaten food security. Traditional farming is at risk, forcing reliance on costly imported goods. Rising temperatures bring new diseases to high-altitude villages. Sacred lakes dry up, pilgrimage routes vanish, and cultural ties fray. The loss is existential, threatening both identity and survival. The Sherpas are on the front lines of a crisis they did not create. Their struggle now extends from the peaks to their doorsteps. Survival means adapting faster than tradition allows. The world's focus on Everest drama overlooks the slow tragedy in the valleys below. Amid struggle, a new generation of Sherpa climbers is rising. They're stepping out of the shadows, claiming records and telling their own stories. Armed with modern training and social media, they challenge old narratives. Nima Rinji Sherpa, at 18, became the youngest to summit all 14 8,000-meter peaks, largely self-funded without major sponsorships. His journey highlights persistent disparities in recognition and support. Nima's goal is to become a sponsored ambassador, proving Sherpas can be the heroes of their own stories. This movement is about reclaiming narrative and inspiring pride. Young Sherpas are showing their names belong in the record books. They climb for themselves, their community, and a future where their talents are celebrated. They're no longer just carrying loads, they're carrying a new generation's aspirations. The new Sherpa generation's achievements are rewriting the record books. In 2024, Punjo Jangmu Lama set the fastest female ascent of Everest, 14.5 hours. Dawa Yangzum Sherpa became the youngest Nepalese woman to summit all 8,000 ERs. Mingma G Sherpa summited all 14 8,000-meter peaks without bottled oxygen, a rare feat. The legendary Kami Rita Sherpa reached Everest summit for the 31st time in 2025, breaking his own record. These records, by both men and women, young and veteran, are world-class athletic achievements. They challenge the outdated notion of Sherpas as mere helpers. Recognition is growing, but still lags behind that given to Western climbers. The hope is that this wave of success will finally bring Sherpa athletes the platform and support they deserve. Their feats demand global respect. The Sherpa community is finding its voice, demanding change and respect. They're pushing for better safety, fair compensation, and professional recognition. Calls for reform echo from Namche Bazaar to Everest's slopes. New regulations exist, but insurance payouts remain inadequate and enforcement is weak. Sherpas want greater authority for lead guides, empowering them to make safety decisions without fear of reprisal. They seek a fair share of Everest's profits, investment in education, healthcare, and climate resilience. The silent struggle is becoming a vocal negotiation. Sherpas are demanding to be treated as essential partners, not disposable labor. Their advocacy is reshaping the future of Himalayan climbing. The Sherpa people stand at a crossroads, shaped by global climbing, climate change, and rising aspirations. Real change begins with economic empowerment, fair wages, insurance, and support for Sherpa-owned companies. Sponsoring elite Sherpa athletes gives them a platform and voice. Addressing the environmental crisis is equally urgent. The international community must help fund climate adaptation and sustainable development. The health of the Sherpa homeland is a warning for us all. Most importantly, the world must see Sherpas as individuals, athletes, entrepreneurs, and cultural guardians. Their story is one of resilience, achievement, and a demand for dignity. The future of Everest depends on heeding their call. It's time for the world to listen. The silent struggle is over. The Sherpas' voices must be heard.